The stock market takes a major crash on early morning trading and continues throughout the day as COVID-19 cases rampage across the country. Record numbers on all levels. New poll numbers out today show that the president is not gaining enough speed in the last 8 days before the election. And Nancy Pelosi slams the administration for not giving stimulus relief and not giving COVID relief. The question is, where is the stimulus and how will we get it? But because of Purple Power, there's a path underway. We're going to get the stimulus checks, we're going to get the FPUC, and we're going to get the hazard pay. It's just a question of whether the wind's going to blow me away before we get it. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm here, you're here, and might as well have Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz here, because I'm about to blow away and land somewhere outside of Kansas or anytime soon. It's a very windy day, so I appreciate you for tuning in. Thick of snow, wind, or sleet, I am here to report you the breaking news, so I really appreciate you for joining me. There's great news today. There's incredible, promising news, and there's uncertainty as well. Let's go to the front of this channel, subscribe, because who's going to be the person who's going to look like a hot mess by the end of this recording amidst a, tornado. So if you don't see me in a few minutes, I have blown away and landed in Nevada. Also, like this video, it's really helping. Boy, we're ranking all across the board today, finally, after being, thrown to the sea like a bad old hairstyle from the San Francisco hair salon. Let's go over what this video will be covering. And today I'll be covering the breaking news about Wall Street. I detailed it first on early mornings, LALATE. On early mornings, I told you the market was going to trade down. It was about 100 points in pre-market trading. Then on mornings LALATE, I told you it was down about 200. Then on 28, I told you it's down about 400. What's traded is down as low as 900, and we're not over yet. The problem is that this could continue for many days to come because of the problems that I'm next going to get to. Stimulus. There's not going to be a stimulus bill legislatively by act of Congress from Mitch or Nancy or Steve or Donald in the next remaining 8 days before the election. There can't be. Later today, Mitch McConnell will be closing the Senate. So what does that mean? We have a path and we have a plan. That's why we're here. Stay with me. Great news coming up. Then COVID-19 cases out of control and simply could get much worse. 83,000 on Friday and Saturday each day, highest number in a record day. And finally, poll numbers. President's going nowhere in the polls, so will he understand that now is the time for executive orders? Boy, let's get to the breaking news as I hold on to the script for dear life. The breaking news is that Wall Street, the single most important indicator that this president uses for gauging whether you need stimulus or not, is crashing. So will this be the wake-up call that millions of Americans that tune into this channel every day wonder will be the wake-up call? We have consistently wondered what would cause this president to understand the need to send out executive orders. A fake narrative has been dominating this administration for weeks, with Pete Navarro and Larry Kudlow saying, we have a V-shaped recovery. He even does it, a V-shaped recovery. We're already rebounded. We're totally fine. Oh, no. What Wall Street's saying this morning is two factors. One, we have no stimulus, and two, we have no COVID-19 relief policy. And what I've been talking to you about a lot here and there, but not as an entire video, is the issue of third stimulus. Yes, your third stimulus check, your third stimulus package. I know you're about to say, I haven't gotten my second one, dude. When are we on to the third? Because ultimately, the concern that Wall Street has right now is that you don't have your second stimulus package, and we're waiting for the third one because the third one will protect you and keep you financially sound when the lockdowns start. Let me go over what's going on. Wall Street is now seeing the problems which you and I know, and are now addressing the problems that are coming forward that you and I know. Those are the following. You have not gotten your stimulus check for the month of April or May. That was for the first 2 months of lockdown of this country. Initially, the CARES Act said you were going to get a stimulus check for every month of lockdown, and you went on to lockdown for March and April, May. In fact, when they wrote the bill, they said, you know what, I think there's going to be 3 months of lockdown because that's what most states have announced. So they put in 3 stimulus checks, a check for every month. Makes sense? Yeah, it does. Until Nancy Pelosi and those wonderful people in Congress on both the Republican and the Democratic side said, we're going to take it out. We're only going to pay 1 check, and we'll get to the other checks later on. Well, when was later on? It was in May. And when they came back in May, they had a 3,000-page behemoth bill, the HEROES Act, that gave hundreds of billions of dollars, $900 billion to Gavin Newsom and Andrew Cuomo, states and local, and gave you 1 stimulus check. At the time, we thought, okay, we don't have a stimulus check for the month of April, but we'll survive with the fact that you're giving one to us in May. And they said, you know what, we'll give you more checks as time goes on. Steve Mnuchin said, we'll give you multiple stimulus checks. Then came Senator Harris. Then came Senator Sanders, wrote the most wonderful bill that should have become a law. A $2,000 check for every month until the pandemic improves or until unemployment goes away, with a 6-month minimum. That was in May. Senator Harris across broadcast news on MSNBC with Chris Hayes said, you know what? 1 check for 1 month doesn't cut it. We're in May. Everyone knows what we're facing. We need a lot of checks for a lot of months, and a $1,200 is not going to cut it for anyone. That was May. So now as we sit here today, we understand our value. I am valued, you are valued, and that this fake narrative that Nancy Pelosi with the matching scarf, matching mask, and the matching outfit says that 1 stimulus check will crush the virus, feed American children going hungry, and is dedicated to science is just unacceptable. Also unacceptable is Mitch McConnell, never giving you a stimulus check in any of the 4 bills that a Republican senator has ever introduced during this pandemic. And then there's the president who guaranteed you a more robust stimulus, a more generous stimulus check than Nancy in June, in July, in August, and September. So as we sit here today, you need a stimulus check for everything you have endured, but you need a stimulus check for what's coming up today. What's coming up today is these numbers. 83,000 new COVID-19 cases on Friday. 83,000 new COVID cases on Saturday. This surpasses the July record of 77,000 per day. We're now on an average of 63,000 per day over a 6-day average, which is also a record. And there's warnings this could get a lot worse. Frank Rybinski, chief microstrategist at Aegon Management, says this is phase 2 of the pandemic. Until we get some eradication, it's going to get a gray cloud and it's going to get worse. In fact, in the video that comes up after this purple, I will go over why Scott Gottlieb, former FDA head under Donald Trump, says we could be seeing hundreds of thousands of cases very quickly. The situation is going to get very strong. And ultimately, you and I know what that means. Lockdowns. Lockdowns, lockdowns. Businesses closed. So if you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, you need a stimulus check. You need a stimulus check because you're missing the ones before, and you need a stimulus check for the lockdowns coming up. If you're a single individual who has a job at Walmart or a job at Costco, you need a stimulus check because ultimately, things could happen. Ultimately, items could happen. And then if you work at a small business owner, you need a stimulus check because ultimately your business could be shut down. The lockdowns are coming and the market is uneased. The markets are likely to drift lower near term in the face of stimulus disappointment, virus resurgence, and intensifying election uncertainty, says Julian Emanuel, strategist at BTIG. The double whammy of stalled stimulus bills and new high cases in COVID is a harsh reminder of the many worries that are still out there, said Ryan Dietrich, chief market strategist at LPL Financial, minutes ago. Most of the recent economic data has been strong, but when you see parts of Europe going back onto shutdowns, it reminds us the fight is far from over. Shutdowns need more stimulus. Shutdowns need more FPUC. Shutdowns need more hazard pay. And that's where we really are. Nancy Pelosi spoke about it today. The Republicans continue to surrender to the virus, particularly amid the recent wave of cases. It's official malfeasance. We must come to agreement as soon as possible. That's not going to happen, because ultimately what has happened is the House of Representatives closed and the Senate will close by the end of today. Mitch McConnell will be closing the Senate after the confirmation of Judge Barrett. So as we sit here today, there's really good news among all this chaos, and you're going to stay with me at the 10-minute mark because I have that coming up right now. There is good news. There's two waves of good news, and the two waves of good news are double whammies that we're delivering to others, not to us. Let's hit them right now. Whammy number one, executive orders. This is the time for the president to wake up. It's enough already. You had 4 members of Mike Pence's staff get COVID over the weekend. You had rallies where no one was wearing masks. He had an interview over the weekend that said, we're turning the curve around, we're turning the corner around COVID-19. And then he said the pandemic is made up by mainstream liberal media. It's time to wake up. Send out executive orders. Send out them now, because you're behind in the polls. Understandably, everyone says polls may lie, polls may be incorrect, but when you're down 8% in the polls, it's not a close battle. He needs to win the Electoral College, and you need to win the 6 swing states, and no poll out there, whether it's Fox News or CNN, has him ahead in all the swing states. They either have him up 2 and down in all the rest, or not winning any of them. That doesn't get you to 270. It doesn't get you to win the Electoral College. So he needs a winning image. And sitting on broadcast news and saying the pandemic is a fake is not one of them. So as we sit here today, where are the polls? The polls are just not going anywhere. Whether it's Arizona, Florida, Michigan, North Carolina, Wisconsin, or Pennsylvania, Trump is either down in all of them or down in all but 2. And the ones when he's down are big. 8 percentage points. So that is whammy number one. Purple power, do your thing. If you're new to this channel, what is purple power? What am I referring to when I talk about purple power? Early on in this channel, from day one, I got people $10 to $25 million from EIDL loans and EIDL grants because they had not gotten it. They didn't know how to get it. There was problems being set up by the government, confusion, administrative, and real big predicaments blocking them to getting the money. We worked every single day. We worked every single day on the recordings. I would read their comments. I would go on air. I'd read their comments. I'd go on air. We did it day after day after day. Every day there was a new winner, but some of them still had not gotten through the finish line. I stayed with them. It took weeks. We eventually got every single one of them approved. Absolutely categorically incredible. That's what we're doing now here with stimulus. You need to stay with me because purple power is that same spirit. A name that I gave to this community just a few weeks ago, I said, hey, you know what? I wear purple. You're referring to me as the purple guy. And hence, it's the purple power because it's based upon information, motivation, and perseverance. And you will get the money the same way I've always had my viewers get their money. Now, the second double whammy of this afternoon's broadcast, and I'm so excited for you, is the Purple Power Caucus. And I got to tell you, days like this are exactly why I'm so excited for you. It's because what's going to happen is there's going to be 2 narratives out there, neither of which serve you. There's going to the Republican narrative, which is the economy's doing great. It's not. I thought you follow the stock market. Well, the stock market's down today. So how did that work that it's doing really well? First of all, there'll be the Republicans who don't want to give you stimulus. Whether it's the president or Mitch McConnell, you have a blockade to giving you enough stimulus. Second, Nancy Pelosi on the other side, who will want to tell you that she's crushing the virus, killing the virus, feeding children going hungry, and things like that, based upon a $500 measly stimulus check for 8 months. Not going to cut it. What the Purple Power Caucus is, which I established last Friday, is to step up and say, no, we're going to vocalize how much we need. We're going to have a Purple Power Caucus for stimulus check, a Purple Power Caucus for hazard pay, and a Purple Power Caucus for FPUC. You have a right to demand how much money you need. And we have been demanding that for weeks, but we never had a name for it. Now we have a name for it. Hashtag Purple Power Check. Go on Twitter, tweet it. watch other people who are tweeting it, retweet them, share your comments and suggestions, and together get a collective voice. Not divisive, but as a team. What is the appropriate amount? That's what you decide. How many months should we be getting checks? That's what you decide. How many stimulus checks should we be getting right now? That's what you decide. Ultimately, it's a narrative which no one will ignore because no one is doing what we're doing. If you look back to the earlier days of the problem solvers, which is sort of something that came from almost the movement of this channel, the problem solvers said, you know what, we need to be bipartisan, and we need to figure out numbers of what numbers are. We're doing a sort of the same way, but what we're not stopping with is saying you need a lot of stimulus. And so what I need you to do, which is new this afternoon, is you need to be understanding of where the economy is going. Potential lockdowns, potential market failures, potential slumping of the economy. And you need to understand that, yes, you're owed stimulus checks for back those weeks and months, but how about the stimulus going forward? I want you in all your tweets to be considerate in your mindset of what happens if I have a lockdown in a month from now? What happens if I have a lockdown in 2 months from now? I know that Congress takes a long time to get to an agreement about anything. So maybe I better put in there another stimulus check for December. Or maybe I better put in there another stimulus check for November. Kelly Evans, who's a great anchor on CNBC, she does the midday show. She actually was asking a guy, an analyst, about a situation, and then she came back and said, you know what, over the weekend I was talking to my girlfriends, I said, all of us sort of assume this is the last weekend we can go out to a restaurant. We just sort of assume that a lockdown is about to come around the corner. And that's what you should be doing with your stimulus checks. You should be proactive and presuming you need stimulus checks for what's coming up, not reactive and asking for stimulus checks after there's a lockdown. That's the power of Purple Power. Let me answer some of the incredible questions from yesterday. And coming up, before I do, let me tell you, coming up on Purple, the video right after this, I will be going over why the COVID-19 cases are so important for your stimulus, why they're so important for demanding higher stimulus. And then on McConnell versus Trump, I will have a breaking news story about why the Democrats are worried the House may stay Republican, and they're throwing money like nobody's business and running out of it. And they're evoking some major billionaire to step in and save them in their effort to take down Mitch. You got to tune in for that one. And then Pelosi versus Mnuchin. There's a new report says that the parties are still negotiating. There could be a deal. Do you believe in it? Do you not? Yeah. Don't answer that question yet. Let me answer some incredible comments and questions from yesterday. James, it should be $2,000 every month for every American, whether you're an adult or child, retroactive back to March. I love that, James. I think he means retroactive to April because we got the month of March. Very well said. Azella Barner, thank you, Lord. Keep on working his miracles. Catherine, I think they need to issue a larger payment right now, and then the Americans are struggling, losing everything. So her comment is, don't do multiple checks right now. First do a very big check and get us caught up. Terry Rose, we may be black and blue, but we're Purple Power is strong. I love that, Terry Rose. Mary 2019 plan, enough is enough, gives our money. Shalia, we need to protest. Marlene, we the people want our monies. Rebecca Cox, Mr. President, people are getting tired of this. You need to step in and do executive orders now. MSC, Purple Power MSC. Hashtag MSC. If you're new to this channel, I launched that 2 weeks ago. Multiple stimulus checks. All the pushes of this channel are unchanged. Hashtag multiple MSC. Hashtag seats for stimulus. Hashtag IAmValued. Nothing has changed on this channel. Barbara Boyd, Pelosi's the reason we're having such much problems. Demarius, Americans need stimulus. Brenda, we want $2,000 back to June. Cynthia, I went to get groceries today. I could not believe how much everything is going through the roof. That is a big issue. I think I covered that this morning. Prices are going up through the roof for milk and eggs, and this is even more reason why you need stimulus right now. Roger, I'm a senior. I can tell you the cost of living has increased more than ever. Another viewer, stagflation, which refers to cost of living going up and the economy being flat. William, stagflation has hit Ohio. My grocery bill has doubled because of this pandemic now. I have less money, but the groceries continue to go up. awful. If you have questions for today's video, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. If you've not subscribed to this channel, you go to the front of this channel and you hit the subscribe button, and then also hit the alert button. Yesterday we did quite well. Today we're doing quite well also. And also like this video. Make sure you do so that aliens took your stimulus checks does not rank first, rather this video. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay about life for more.